It's getting kind of sad seeing how often Japanese developers are coming out in support of the PS5. Oh, please give it time, Japan. Please give it time. It's only going to be a matter of time until Japan finally catches on to this hot new PlayStation console. Please pay attention to it. Please pay attention to us. For those of you who are unaware, or for people who haven't been following my channel, or maybe who aren't like fully tuned in or what I'm all about, like I have been extensively following the Japanese gaming console industry for a very, very long time now. I would say like since 2013. It's been a long time. Like, and over those over that sort of period of time, I've come to understand that like the Japanese third party developers, right, these major players are extremely biased towards PlayStation. They desperately want PlayStation to succeed and for Nintendo to fail. Like specifically Nintendo to go third party. Like they will go to any lengths to try and downplay Nintendo's success and try to overhype the PlayStation one. So what we're seeing right now in the Japanese console industry is that Nintendo Switch is demolishing the PlayStation 5 in basically every region. United States, Japan, Europe, like basically everywhere. Like basically PlayStation's only really relevant among people who don't really know a whole lot about video games and just want to get like GTA 6 when it comes out. Like, oh, I'll get a PS5. I have some spare money running around. I'll get a PS5 for when the games finally start coming. There are no games on PS5, and there probably never will be. They take so long to make, like half a decade or more, that I think it's safe to say that we can reasonably not expect anything worthwhile to come out in PS5 at all. And yet somehow we have people like Hideki Kamiya, Nagoshi, the Yakuza guy, Harada, the Tekken guy. Like I'm sure there's other examples like Igarashi, Unifune. Like you have these countless examples of like notable Japanese developers trying to come out and damage control for the PS5, like trying to say that like it's gonna catch on eventually, it's gonna be big, just wait for the games, guys, like just hang in there, this is new exciting technology. Basically the opposite of how they reacted to the Wii U, right? Like with the Wii U, they were excited about not having to support a Nintendo console. They were ecstatic about like having this built-in reason to not talk or think about Nintendo at all. Oh, we're not supporting Wii U because like it's just not successful enough. Like really, this has been apparent since the Wii. This has been apparent since the handheld era. Like it doesn't really matter how successful Nintendo is, right? These people are always going to downplay it. They're never going to support Nintendo consoles because they simply can't compete. They can't compete with these timeless, iconic new entries in a video game in these new, iconic video game franchises. They can't compete with ARMS. They can't compete with Splatoon 2. They can't compete with Animal Crossing. Like Animal Crossing, I think, has outsold Cyberpunk 2077. Right? Like Animal Crossing, a game that's way more merchandisable, way more easy to develop, is way easier to make. Has more potential for spin-offs, way more affordable. Like, I believe it's more than doubled Cyberpunk sales. And keep in mind, New Horizons is actually a finished game, as opposed to Cyberpunk 2077 being completely broken and unfinished. Like, these people know. Like, without PlayStation propping them up, without the marketing machine, without the hype, without the corrupt gaming media, without Sony trying to pretend that Final Fantasy VII was something special, or like it couldn't run on N64. Like that, this is where real adult gamers play. Like without that aspect of it, they have absolutely nothing. Like when you get right down to it, like all of PlayStation's successes over the past 25 years have been nothing but smoke and mirrors. Like, it's always been extremely fake and gay. If Sony was not like $1 billion conglomerate, they would have been driven out of the console industry a long time ago because they can't make as much Nintendo money as Nintendo. They haven't developed as good hardware or as iconic video game franchises or built any great studios. Like, they are, in a way, completely obsolete. They are completely irrelevant. The only reason that anyone cares or talks about them is because they completely control the gaming media and the process in which games are marketed and promoted to consumers, right? Like, this is the trend, right? We always see this. Like, PlayStation games are at their most popular before they actually come out, while Nintendo games become more popular after they come out. But basically what this means is that people hype themselves up on the idea of PlayStation games, but when it actually comes time to play the games, everyone's out always playing Nintendo. Like, I can tell you that I'm still playing shit like Yoshi's Story, let's see, is that Mario Kart 64, Diddy Kong Racing, Majora's Mask, Donkey Kong 64, Spider-Man N64, Kirby. I keep doing this with my N64 collection. I have a bunch of N64 games that I still constantly play. What the fuck does anyone, anywhere, still play on PS1? Like, Final Fantasy VII is on Nintendo now. No point. There's no point in ever whipping out the PlayStation 1 again. It's where it belongs on Nintendo. You have Metal Gear Solid. It's been ported to a bunch of different platforms, but okay. You have a bunch of RPGs that haven't aged all that well, and I don't know, Resident Evil's been ported several times on every console. Like, you have nothing. Like, you really have nothing. And, like, all of these franchises have gotten worse and worse with time. Like, they've lost their original audience. And at this point, people only really remember them because, like, oh, this is a big PlayStation franchise. Like, and we're kind of at the point now where the people who sort of kept this facade up and running, the Kojimas, the Kamiyas, the Igarashis, the Inafunes, like, these people who constantly made these decisions to abandon Nintendo and support PlayStation, they're old and retired. They're getting out of the picture. Like, anyone who actually knows what they're doing is either developing exclusively for Switch or developing true multiplats, meaning they're putting it on every console, which of course, like, the Switch always dominates in. Like, if a game comes out on every console the way they should, theoretically, if this was like a free and open market, like, Switch would dominate every time because Switch is the superior platform with more functionality, better online features, better controllers, more things you could use, better motion controls. Like, the possibilities are endless with Nintendo Switch right now. Like, any company seriously deluding themselves into thinking that PlayStation 5 has a market anywhere needs to get a reality check. Like, PlayStation 5 has been over for a very, very long time now, and it feels like the Japanese gaming scene needs to wake up and realize that Nintendo Switch is not only the biggest thing now, but will be for years to come.